Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to those of you around the world. Welcome to the daily Trade the Chain crypto update, where we give you everything you need to know for the next 24 hours and hopefully the next few days. Today is Wednesday, April 26th. We are midway through the week, and we had some pretty good tech earnings yesterday. Let's actually, instead of starting with the dollar, let's look at Microsoft. Up in the last day, quite a good bit. Let's check out Google. About even, still higher than yesterday's close, but up slightly. And then let's check out Amazon. Up as well from yesterday. So nothing too crazy. Obviously, Microsoft is the biggest boost, but tech earnings pretty decent, which is, I think, the reason we're seeing some boost in crypto. There's a couple other reasons as well that we'll dig into, but as it pertains to the dollar, we dropped down to the 101 level, which is very close to the lows from February and April. We obviously recovered at 101.2. So if we hold here, probably at least headed back up to 101.8. But the dollar has been continually growing weak, even though this could have been some sort of a bull flag. It failed. Obviously got down to close to equal lows. But this definitely is looking more and more bearish throughout the day, but will obviously continue to be volatile and slow moving, as is typically the case. The interesting thing is as this has moved lower, so has equities. But obviously, crypto did have, a bit of a drop, but Bitcoin has obviously reclaimed pretty much 7 days of bearish price action, as the last time we were below, the 29.3 level was on the 19th of April. So quite a, full week of bearish price action, and this could be some sort of weird deviation, but, we don't really know enough right now. So more of the story is DXY still on the slide. If it recovers, you would typically expect, maybe equities, I'm sorry, if it continues to decline, move lower, you would expect equities and crypto to start moving higher. And if it starts moving lower, if it starts moving back up, I'm getting confused here, but you get what I'm saying. If DXY starts moving back above 101.8, then I would expect some continued bearishness for equities and crypto. But remember, the big data point this week is PCE, which is on Friday. Tomorrow, we actually also have GDP revisions, which I believe I discussed yesterday. But if it is anything less than the 2% number, you'll probably see some downside volatility tomorrow morning. And at the same time on Friday, you have PCE, which will definitely bring some volatility to the charts. So let's look at equities, get our bearings straight a little bit here. So we basically swept the lows from April 5th, 7th, and 10th. So as you can see here, this line right here, if we just kind of matched up, swept these lows, deviated and tagged 4060. So if you lose 4060, you're just seeping back down into this range, which, didn't have too much trading in it. So it would probably slice down to 4010 pretty quick. But obviously we held the 4060 level and we deviated, we had a nice little swing failure pattern back up above 4070. And we tagged, obviously, the previous daily close already. So let's go ahead and get rid of some of these lines. Let's draw some fresh lines for you guys. So moral of the story is, zoom out a little bit, what is going on here? Moral of the story is, if you can get above the previous daily close, then you're doing something like this and moving towards the weekly VWAP. If you fail here, which it looks like it's wanting to, then you're probably dripping back to the low end of the range for then a recovery at the low end of the range, or then you are dropping back to continue to test this liquidity down here, which would not be a very good sign. So that would be 4060, considering we are being rejected currently off of the previous daily high. So this is going to be tough trading. In my opinion, you're just sitting in the range. So it's better to try and play a breakout unless you're trying to short the top of the range and long the bottom of the range. But this doesn't look too pretty, in my opinion. So what I would look to do is short a break of 4060 or long a break of 4086. Else you're just going to be stuck in this little zone, which is very difficult for trading unless you are a very short-term scalper. I'll go down to like 5 minutes. So, you short at the previous daily close. Maybe you try along here. If that fails, maybe you try along here. But if you're looking at it from an objective standpoint, where are you entering, where are you exiting? Sitting in the middle of the range, never a good place to enter. So always best to enter at the extremes, the top end of the range for short, bottom end of the range for long. But again, if we test 40, 60 and start to break down, definitely going to see a lot of shorts come into play. For Bitcoin, the moral of the story here, it kind of lines up with where we were trading. Whoops, that's not the right line. Kind of lines up with where we were trading right here. And that's why I mentioned to the Trade the Chain community the 29.7 level. So lose 29.7, you're going to drop to 29.3. Break or hold 29.7, you've got a chance to get back up to 30 and then potentially flip 30 to then head back up to 30.5, which obviously recent highs. So no real clear read yet. We're obviously extremely oversold. This is when you would expect some consolidation and potentially a return back to support for a test. So my bias right now for just at least intraday is I would expect prices to return back to around 29.3 by the end of the daily close. If they do not, then obviously we're holding 29.7 pretty strong and may end up seeing 30.5K into tomorrow, obviously provided GDP numbers cooperate. So looking at ETH, bit similar, but obviously still weaker than Bitcoin, but very clear here from a resistance and support perspective. If you break below 1940, you're going to head back to the 1 hour estimated 200 moving average right around 1900. If you can stay above 1940, then you can obviously bounce and head higher up to 1980 and then plausibly higher if you can break that level. But again, this is where that staunch resistance is at this 4087 level with that slight deviation higher. So if we do make it up here, I would expect some pretty quick selling or consolidation for quite some time underneath that level. But in my opinion, I think it's going to be tough to hold these levels. But again, I'm not shorting or longing because we are extremely overextended and we have not confirmed off support to the point that I'd like it. So I'd rather wait to the end of the day to wait to see how the daily close comes in and what volatility happens. Just so you guys are aware, we do call these out in the Trade the Chain community morning, afternoon, and evening. So we said that, tech earnings were positive in the evening. Crypto had already boosted a little bit, but I definitely thought that the rally had legs. Target for ETH was obviously 1940. It went way higher than 1940, having tagged 1965 overnight and into the morning. But obviously, this is why you join the Trade the Chain community, because we obviously give 4 different trade calls in the morning, and then we sometimes follow it up in the evening when we see opportune trades. And if you would have followed that trade, you would have booked a couple of percentage points overnight, which many in the Trade the Chain community did. So considering we got all the volatility last night, there's no reason to dive in. You might as well wait to see if we tag 1986 for a potential great short, or if we tag 1900 for a potential opportune long. So better to be patient than overtrade. So we predicted consolidation today for the Trade the Chain community, potentially obviously moving down if the targets were broken or if the levels that we mentioned were broken. But in my opinion, best to be patient. I'm still a bit worried about the fact that equities had a steep drop yesterday and crypto just ended up holding and rising. Typically, we end up seeing some lag, which does scare me and means that, I'm definitely worried about this rally for crypto, but nothing indicates immediate weakness. Nothing gives me indication to short, and nothing really gives me any indication to long. So if we start tagging the recent highs, then maybe we get a short back down to this level. Or if we, obviously come back down here, then we can start thinking about longs if we have good price action at this level. So always best to be patient. Don't overextend yourself. And obviously we got a big move last night, so not expecting a big move today. Maybe that big move comes tomorrow for GDP numbers, or possibly Friday for PCE numbers. So we will obviously continue to update you guys immediately in the Trade the Chain community, and we will obviously continue to update you guys on video later on. But today is one of those days where it's just best to be patient. Watch the charts, line out your key levels, look for opportunities for a short or a long, and take them if the opportunity presents itself. Right now, no trade, just relax. So good luck, happy trading. See everybody tomorrow.